Welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free from narcissistic abuse with quantum tools and understandings. Today's Thriver TV episode is a truth bomb that I know can really help you. It's about understanding that your biggest breakdowns are in fact your biggest lessons. And I know that you may be opposed to the word lessons in this context, which is so understandable. But lessons learned are so worth it because they deliver us to a truly loving and prosperous life. And that's exactly what today's Thriver TV episode is all about. But before we get started on this, thank you if you've subscribed to my channel, and if you haven't yet, then please do to become involved in supporting the Thriver mission. Alrighty, so let's get going on today's lesson about why our breakdowns are such incredibly valuable lessons. Okay, let's start off with looking at the true questions that we should be asking ourselves. When we don't understand the lesson, aka the gift of this experience of what we've been through, we are stuck in the questions of how can somebody do this? And how can somebody be so terrible? But I really want you to know that any question which is about them and is looking out there is not going to grant you salvation, healing, or your breakthrough. I've shared Pema Chodron's famous quote so many times because I love it. And it's this: nothing ever goes away until it has taught us what we need to know. Narcissistic abuse is the total experience of being in the bowels of hell, rolling around with our greatest fears and traumas, feeling completely powerless and paralyzed. And usually when we try to fight back and get out of it, we find that it just doesn't work. The narcissist escalates their behavior. We're shocked to discover that authorities and even family and friends can't and don't help us. And it really seems like everywhere we turn that the narcissist is winning. They're defeating us. And our souls and our lives are being ripped to shreds by this. Yet, if you start to embrace the wisdom of Pema Chodron, you'll enter a dimension of a higher truth. That at a soul level, this was meant to be. And a release from this situation will only come for you when you have learned this lesson, when you've accepted it. So how do we know what the lesson is? The lesson can only be revealed as a result of self-partnering. When you take your focus off the narcissist and turn inwards and self-inquire with a question such as this: what feelings are triggering me now that represent the parts of myself that I haven't yet healed? And another way to term this question is, what trauma is this person bringing up for me that I have previously experienced in my life? And this question is also powerful. As an adult, I can be responsible for my own soul and life. Therefore, why am I still handing away my power to others so that they can grant me love, approval, security, and safety? All right, I know that it is really scary to look at this stuff. At first, when I was deeply victimized, I was horrified by any questions like these because there was no way I wanted to think that I needed healing, because clearly he was the one who was completely disordered. But what I learned on my life and near-death journey was that trying to force him to be accountable or obtain justice for what he'd done to me, it just wasn't happening. And my efforts to make it happen weren't healing me or granting me a fabulous life at all. Rather, they just kept me stuck in the trauma that was nearly killing me. And I was to discover that this was exactly how it was meant to be. It was only when I let go of trying to do all of that and turned inwards to self-partner that I connected with the only power in the situation, which was knowing that the only person I could heal and change was me. Once orientated in this essential partnering with self, I started to come out of the complete desecration and move towards profound healing, even more incredibly than I ever believed was possible. Why? Because I was embracing the lesson in my breakdown, which was, this is happening for me and not to me, to help me understand the parts of myself that I deeply need to self-partner with and heal. All right, let's look at why your breakdown is your signal. In a world of fear and judgment, we've been conditioned to traumatize ourselves even more in the traumatic times of our breakdowns. Rather than embracing them to hear what they have to teach us, we try to do everything to self-avoid our painful feelings, leading to our own precarious self-abandonment. I love these analogies, which I've shared often, and it goes like this. If you had a car and its engine was grinding, you wouldn't just keep driving it and pretend it's not happening. Doing so would be at the peril of your motor dying. If you had a roof that was leaking, you wouldn't ignore it because your whole roof could cave in and destroy all of your house and your belongings, your home. It could ruin it. Yet when we start to feel painful emotions and go through difficult and tumultuous experience with others, we don't go to the root of the problem. So let's go back to the car analogy. Depending on the problem, something in the engine may need adjusting or even replacing. In regards to the roof, it may need some serious reinforcement so that it can have integrity again. Identically, when we receive the signals of our painful emotions, we may have inner beliefs that require adjusting or even replacing so that we don't continue being enmeshed with people who hurt us. And it may be time to get very clear about our rights, values, and limits so that we can lay powerful boundaries which say no more. That's the reinforcement that's necessary. Yet our human conditioning has been about missing the lesson. It's been about wrestling with people and trying to change and fix them and force them into being the people who will make us feel safe, loved, and happy. By looking out at the narcissist and learning all about him or her and not doing anything about addressing the lesson you're meant to learn for yourself, your own evolution and consequent relief is impossible. All right, so what is the lesson? This is the lesson that myself and so many other thrivers have embraced ultimately to have a direct path through to our emancipation, liberation, and freedom from abuse, as well as all of the horrible symptoms that go with it, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. Okay, and this is the lesson. This is what we need to embrace when we say, this actually isn't about you, meaning the narcissist. You are only a catalyst. It's about me. It's about me becoming a self-generative force where I can now finally self-partner, release and heal myself. By releasing the trauma of you and my matching previous experiences, as well as the false beliefs that have been impregnated within me regarding myself, life, and others, I will become a whole person regardless of what anybody else is or isn't doing. Then I will no longer choose or remain with people in my life who don't add to my self-generative wholeness. I will let them go and allow them to live life according to their own beliefs and truth. and I will go free to choose and participate with the people and situations who will add to my already established wholeness. That's the entire lesson of narcissistic abuse. Right there. That's the lesson. Let's look at this topic. How bad does it have to get? Our soul has one grand purpose: to evolve us, to bring us home to love and truth, which means releasing us from the trauma that is the human condition so that we can claim our true self and true life. When you become who you really are, living your life with reduced trauma and eventually very little, if any, trauma, you naturally know how to generate your life in a way that works. Our soul and life acting in concert are always ingeniously generating the validity of our present existing beliefs and supplying us with the evidence of those as per our emotions and our real life events. In essence, as Buddha famously said, if you want to know what's going on in your inner world, look at your outer world. When you self-partner and go inwards to do the deep quantum reprogramming of your inner being, then you will start to understand that it is the painful and funky feelings on any topic in your life that are letting you know that your inner programming isn't aligned with what you really want. It means that you've sustained traumas that are still wedged within you on these topics. If we've taken on or experienced trauma in our past lives, generational histories, childhoods, and as adults, they are in repeat if unhealed. That's why it happens again as an adult. Then we will have absorbed the emotional beliefs of love equals pain. The people who love me hurt me, I'm not good enough to be loved, and so much more. These emotional beliefs generate the validity of themselves to the letter. We will choose and be chosen by the people and situations that represent them. And this hurts profoundly. We're ripping these traumas open over and over again, and we're adding to them. They compound, and they become more and more compounded and toxic until we reach our breakdown, which is exactly what narcissistic abuse is. The highest lesson to let us know that it's time to heal. For myself personally, I didn't turn inwards and start self-partnering until I nearly died. I was left with only the last bit of my life force remaining. That's how bad it got for me. It's my greatest desire and mission to help other people turn inwards to heal before it gets to that point. Because I'm telling you, it is not easy to come back from that. It took everything I had. So let's look at how to apply the lesson. The first step is to accept that this is happening for you and not to you. This is the opportunity to let go of the false person and false life that you've been living with him or her. Your subconscious is a powerful generator that organizes the trillions of chemical and electrical processes in your body that keeps you healthy and alive. These are things that your logical brain can't comprehend, let alone execute. And I'm telling you this because it's really important to understand that this almighty powerhouse is directing your life beneath the conscious surface of what you know as your reality. Which means your connections, attractions, interactions, and manifestations are a direct hit of your inner belief systems on any given topic. This is why there truly is nothing else to do if you want to heal for real other than face and release every inner part of you that is inflicted with the beliefs that match the traumas this person is bringing to your life. The absolute truth is this: the narcissist is the living evidence of your already existing internal traumas. And I really want you to know that being impregnated with trauma is not your fault. It's an unfortunate, sad, and brutal part of the human experience. Our ancestors carried an enormous amount of trauma. We were brought up by people who were still holding on to their own unresolved trauma. As children, we had no resources to be able to release ourselves from trauma, let alone extricate ourselves from the people who delivered it to us. But as adults, we can take our power back. We can accept the lesson. We can make good of it. We can fight the good fight. We can emerge victorious from these old breakdowns by taking the lesson and turning it into the grandest, newest breakthrough that we've ever experienced. And we can lead the way for others and our future generations to do so as well. The following is the glory of this lesson. That one person at a time we can heal and we can change humanity in our world. And now, as a result of quantum tools, it is totally possible for us to do so. No longer does healing from narcissistic abuse have to take years or decades. In fact, most people don't actually achieve it. They can only try to hope to manage their ever-existing trauma symptoms. All of that's a thing of the past, because we now have a straight line path to be able to achieve true healing now. Okay, so if this episode deeply resonates with you, I can put you in direct contact with how to actualize your breakthrough healing today. And you can do this by clicking the link at the top right of this video. So, I really hope this has all made sense to you. And to sign off, I hope that this truth today, as hard as it is, has helped truly set you free. And as always, I look forward to answering your comments and your questions below. Okay, so until next time, keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving, because there's nothing else to do. Lots of love. Bye-bye.